tell us how you got to the NFL, because you were a strength coach in the NFL. Tell us how you got there. Wow, we would have never believed this. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Google. Go out there and listen to us. So we're excited about it. We're glad you're excited about it too. Lunch break. We're so glad you joined us. I'm here with my friend Mike Harvey.
Yep.
Glad you're back. You were absent last Friday in Relevant Rants.
And you were absent last Monday.
Yeah, I was. So I can't get away with kidding you around. So
and you're absent this Friday.
Yeah, I am. So we're here with our good friend Alec Wons. Am I pronouncing that name right?
Yep, you got it.
Wow, Mike.
Good job.
Give me credit
for that. Good job,
for that.
Tom. Yeah, you get extra credit for that one.
Because usually I don't. So, Alec, you're joining us from the great state of Wisconsin. Is that where you're at?
Yep, good old Milwaukee.
Yeah.
The cheese state.
Well, I'm a Packer fan. I found out that Alec is not.
Huh.
But, yeah, it's just okay.
I thought everyone was Packer fans.
Well, and we got the quarterback for the Packers this year is from Bakersfield, California, where we're recording our show in studio. And we're
you were hoping he would be.
Yeah, I'm ready for Jordan Love to get a shot. I really am.
Yeah,
I'm ready for him to do that.
I mean, the Super Bowl champs this year are from Kansas City, which is where I'm from. So that's Patrick Mahomes right there.
You Kansas City fans have. I'm envious of the team.
They have a good quarterback.
They have a great quarterback, and they've got a great team, and they got a great coach in Andy Reid. So, yeah. So we're here today, and we're talking about. Lunch break, we're talking about Alec's life. And I got to read the article that your coach from Marquette wrote about you. And so he was very impressed with you. Tell me a little bit about that first day when he saw you. Did you know the coach was watching you when you were running with a cutoff T-shirt across the field? And I always tell young people, and I'd like to help a lot of young people. I says, you're always on. It's always a test, right, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
We always said that. So did you know he was watching you run across wherever you're running?
No, it's kind of funny. I spoke with him a couple days before. I didn't know anyone up in Milwaukee. So he offered to come pick me up at the airport, drop me off at my hotel, which was, I think, about 2 miles away from the field and the campus. And at that point, I was like, don't really feel like paying for an Uber. It was that point. It's like, I'd rather get dinner after the tryout than pay for an Uber there. And just me being from Kansas City, I guess, it was in February in Milwaukee, and I don't know what I was thinking. I just didn't really pack for the weather. I think it was going to be that cold. And I just decided to kind of run down the 2 miles to get to the field. And wasn't the best decision I made, but it was kind of just like I was pushing my mind in a way just to kind of get myself in the zone for whatever happened. So it's almost like just like a little preparation.
And he happened to be driving by, or was he on the field when you come running up?
He saw me run up when I got to the field. We had that nice big old dome put over the field, like one of those huge bubbles. Because in Wisconsin, there's just snow, and once it's cold, it just stays cold.
Well, you made an impression on him because he said that he knew this player was going to be special. I love that because you made an impression. And I like that. There again, I've always had the saying, and it's not my saying, but I adhere to it. You never get a second chance to make that first impression, and I guess you made a great first impression on your coach.
So, I always try to, yeah.
Yeah, it did. So as we're talking to Alec here, he's an author.
Yep.
He's an author of a new book, and we're going to talk about that, and it's Conquer Yourself.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, and so
when was it released?
It was literally released it was May 7th, the afternoon was when I had the launch, so very recently.
Okay.
So you're a new author. You're getting a lot of new experiences then. So have you had your book signing? I know you were telling me that you were going to have a book signing and all that.
I did, yeah. I had a launch. I had a lot of former colleagues, friends, family, strangers come out. Rented out the back half of a cafe, and I had some great speakers come. It was amazing. Like at first when I thought about the event, I was just kind of doing it for the book release, and the book was meant for other people. So I wanted the event to be for other people as well. So it was kind of really cool to have like a networking event attached to it as well. And I had a my current CEO speak, diversity partner speak, and another like speaker and coach speak. So it was just a great afternoon. Couldn't have asked for a better atmosphere and people to be surrounded by.
I like it.
So you say you're
I knew Mike would jump in because you're speaking his language right now.
yeah. So you say you're CEO. So this is a company that you own, but you have someone else run it. Is that?
No, so actually I work in sales for a company that promotes like health, the first responders, healthcare first responders. And CEO is actually, it's a really funny story how we met, because a year ago this time I was working on a mental health startup for college students at Marquette University. And when I pitched it to the president and the board of directors, they appointed him, because he was a mentor, since he's a very accomplished businessman himself and has been the president and CEO of a lot of companies. And he kind of turned into my mentor, helped me get a sales job at a different company a couple months down the road. And then he became CEO of a company right down the road and kind of brought me over when they were looking to hire for my position. So it's kind of really funny how everything's planned out.
And what's the company?
So it's called Ready Rebound, and we specialize in first responders, healthcare. So firefighters, policemen. I know kind of Tom and I touched on that a little bit, but it's just really revolutionizing the way that healthcare is treated, and kind of treating those people who always put us first. So we kind of want to put them first in a way, and their families.
I like that.
Yeah, that's super cool.
And we're going to be talking about Alec, and that is a Ministry Matters.
Okay.
And in one of our shows coming up. So, our audience knows that we have 3 shows.
Yeah, and that's something near and dear to Tom and I's heart too.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
very much so.
It's kind of great because I want to give a shout out to police officers, because it's National Police Officers Week. So I want to give a shout out and just thank them for what they do and how they do it. And Alec, I want to thank you and your mentor and your boss and picking up
amazing what they're doing. Yeah,
picking up the challenge, because I tell that, and I think Alec and I talked about it, that when you dial 911, you want somebody to show up. Yeah, and somebody that is thinking about what they're going to do on the job, and not in their head with some type of a trauma experience. So it's something that if you provide it, we'll keep them on the job.
Yeah, and we'll talk all about that on Ministry Matters. But can I ask about the book?
Absolutely,
yeah, for sure.
Mike.
So Conquer Yourself, right? Mm-hmm. So what is the book about?
So
well,
the
I'm
book
going to go
is
into the story, because I hold on, because I think you're getting too far ahead of us on this.
Okay, got it.
Can I reel you back in?
Yeah. Well, I asked you permission. You said to go.
Well,
go
I did, but I want to follow out with his life, because his life is interesting, Mike. We'll do this all show, so don't worry about that. So as you're a young guy, you were able to get on the soccer team, and as you were playing soccer, I know that you had arthritis. How did you develop arthritis? I mean, you're a young guy, and you probably played soccer since did you play like pee-wee soccer? Did your parents have you in pee-wee soccer and stuff, and you grew up playing soccer? Did that contribute to the arthritis?
It probably did. The reason I got into playing soccer in the first place is when my parents got divorced when I was really young. My dad started coaching a team with my brothers and I as a way to kind of see us more. And it was just a really cool way to see him, and he'd never play the game. It was just like you said, a way to see us more. And I ended up really taking a liking to it. And like kind of going into middle school was when I really took things seriously and really started to work out a lot harder, train a lot more. And it honestly turned into an obsession. Soccer was the only sport I ever played. It's what I thought about before school, during school, after school. It's all I trained for. Ended up playing for one of the best academies in the country at Sporting Kansas City. And when it was time to kind of pick colleges and everything, I had experienced a lot of stress fractures, injuries in my high school years, probably just due to overtraining and running. And at the time, my friends and family probably saw it. I just never did realize that I probably had like an eating disorder in a way. I would just train obsessively and just kind of wouldn't consume as much food as my body needed. And that caused it to break down and just continue to do that years and years and years. Resulted in stress fractures and possibly the early onset arthritis at 21.
Sounds like your people, Tom.
It sounds like my people. I had that conversation with my wife this morning. I always tell people it's better to undertrain than overtrain. and we learn it the hard way, don't we, Alec?
Yeah, we do. My dad had one saying, it was always train or play smarter, not harder, or think smarter, not harder. And that never stuck until it was you went too hard and there wasn't going back.
That's the hard thing with body parts, that you either have to replace them or take care of them. So I love the fact, I know it's a terrible thing to go through as a child as parents separate, but I love your dad's ingenuitiveness on picking up coaching soccer, so he could see his boys more. That honestly makes me stop for a moment and think, what a great thing for a dad to do. How many siblings do you have?
I have two younger brothers. We're all about like a year and a half, 2 years apart. So one of them just graduated from college at Mizzou. The other one's going to be a junior. So we're all like just really close.
Wow. So how many years did he coach? Was it just while you guys were playing, or did he continue?
No, he coached me from the time I started then up until my first year of high school. I played my first year of high school, and then after that I wanted to try out for Sporting KC, which is one of the best academies in the country. And it was open tryouts. There was 300 people there, and there's only 5 spots.
Oh, wow.
And I ended up doing well enough to be able to make that. So I literally went from my dad coaching me and us just getting destroyed every game. I was a goalkeeper, so just getting pelted, to playing one kind of year of high school to being in one of the best academies in the country. So he obviously did something right. And then, just the mentality of, I kind of manifested where I wanted to go and who I wanted to be.
Well, I think there's something about people who have achieved at a high level in sports, or really any area of life, but in sports especially, because of competitiveness and the discipline and everything else it teaches you, you end up most of the time, or very frequently at least, going on to be successful in a lot of other areas of life as well.
Well, Mike, you're a good example. Alec, I coached Mike in football in high school. And
awesome.
Yeah. So we have a lot of stories, and Mike was an awesome linebacker. And so I agree with you. I agree with you on that. So take us through, because I think your book spawned off of, and we'll do more about that in Ministry Matters, but take us through that mindset of the injury. Because, you tell people that play sports or try to achieve at sports that it's not if you get injured, it's or when you get injured, or it's not if you get injured, it's when you get injured.
Right.
And you got injured. Do you remember? I mean, I've got a lot of injuries, and I remember my first knee injury like it was yesterday, because it was profound. I mean, when you're young, you think you're invincible. Do you remember the first time you kicked the ball and you thought that didn't feel right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Where did it take? Where did it take your mind after that?
So honestly, when it happened is it was kind of a gradual onset. It went from, okay, kicking the ball hurts a little bit, maybe I'm just breaking new cleats, to, all right, this is pretty painful when I kick. Then progressed even to running, and then it got to the point where from walking to class was kind of unbearable. And I'd experienced this before with a stress fracture in my foot. So I thought when I went to go get an MRI, which was kind of routine for me at this point, I was like, okay, like, what's up, doc? Like, I go in a boot for a couple weeks, a month, give me the crutches, like I know the drill. And when they went over the MRI with me, they were like, this is not, it's not like a broken bone or a stress fracture before, it's arthritis. And for those of you who don't know, like, arthritis can't really be treated. And I was kind of given 2 options. It was, you can try and finish out your college career, which I was just in the middle of my sophomore year, and the pain getting worse. And I was like, if it's worse than it is now, I can barely like walk on it. So that's not really an option. So it was kind of like hang up the boots and maybe be able to kick the ball with your kid one day. And that was just kind of a really like eye-opening experience. I always knew that I would play until I couldn't. I just had no idea that would be how early it like ended.
So walk us through, because one of the things that we always like to leave with our audience is how you overcome that. I know we'll talk more about in your book, but because I know that's what your book alludes to, conquering yourself. But how do you? Because you're, if I'm doing my math right, you're probably 21, 22. When
24 right now. Yeah.
No, I'm saying when you got your injury.
Yeah, it was 21. Yeah.
Yeah, and so now you're thinking, I'm done, or close to done, or have to make the decision to be done with something that I've always been good at. I mean, walk us through that 21-year-old mindset in college, because you still have to go tell your coach, you have to tell your parents. I mean, you have to tell yourself in the mirror. Once you leave with that diagnosis, you've got to do something with it. So, what did the 21-year-old Alec do with that?
I mean, yeah, like if you're like most 20-year-old males or something, you're like, I'm invincible, like I'm indestructible, like this just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Um, and to kind of just show from just a point of view, even though I played on one of the best academies in the country before college, like I didn't play much. I emailed pretty much every Division I school in the country to be able to play, and I got Marquette to be able to offer me a walk-on spot. And I never played a single minute in college. Um, I'm like 5'10" with shoes on, and I'm a goalkeeper, and that's kind of short for a goalkeeper. So
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of always been the underdog in sport, but my work ethic and just kind of that never give up mindset of like you're gonna have to literally kill me for me to stop had taken me so far. And so when I found out that it's like, wow, this is done, I mean, I was shattered. I felt like I had no purpose anymore. Everything I'd done for the previous 15 years of my life felt like a waste.
At 21.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show, like, you see the extreme like pressure that like athletes are under, like whether it's the Olympics or there's stuff like this. It's a lot of pressure. And for someone who like works so hard for it to be all like kind of ripped away and it's done, like I was depressed. It was the worst feeling in the world. And then just kind of be able to realize, well, I don't like feeling this way, so I kind of need to figure a way to still stay around a game that I love. And that's when talking with the coaches, I actually became the manager for the team, so I was still able to kind of almost have a more impactful role with the team, being the manager and kind of still helping coach some, still getting to be around the guys. So it kind of just transferred from playing into kickstarting my life, into coaching, into business, and just kind of opened my mind up to there's more to life than just soccer and sport. I was tunnel vision and was really missing a lot. So I realized that it was almost maybe a blessing in disguise, because where I am today, I probably wouldn't be if I wouldn't have had this injury.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that, Mike. So I like to go back now, and I know, I know as your parents split up. How old were you when they got a divorce?
I think I was about 6.
About six, I think. Walk us through some of the things that maybe you had to do, your brothers had to do, or your parents did for you that molded you into that young man that made that decision, which I do like, and we're going to talk about more on Ministry Matters and Muscle Matters. But talk about what developed you. What were the important things when you were young that helped develop a young 21-year-old that can make a mature decision like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the oldest of 3 brothers, so I kind of feel like I had to maybe watch out for my younger brothers in a way. Kind of the sense of responsibility was kind of taken on. And then as you kind of have like single parents on each side who are still working, it's like they're not there like after school. You kind of have to start like making your own lunches, and kind of late elementary school, middle school, you're doing your own laundry. So it just taught me like a really good sense of responsibility to take accountability from a young age. And that just carried on further into my soccer career, because I mean, to be an athlete at some of the highest levels, you have to be self-disciplined. You just have to have a work ethic that's like no other. And you have to also embrace teamwork, because you can work as hard as you want yourself. And I don't know, I guess that I always kind of felt like I had to work hard by myself. And when you start to realize that you have a team, like you have brothers, you have family, like you should utilize these people and be able to help, that started to take a little bit off. But at the end of the day, it was kind of just like you feel like everything's kind of put on you to kind of hold stuff together, even when it's not your responsibility at that young of an age.
What were some of the things you were involved with? I know we've talked about it because our production company, 511 Media Group, Faith, Family, and Freedom, and we talk a lot about faith. Did faith have a role in how you got through some of this stuff younger?
Nah, when I was younger, I think I just believed, like, sometimes in a way it's like, how could like a God have some of this stuff happening? So it was almost like I believed in like a higher power. I just didn't necessarily know what. And the one thing that felt like kind of was my savior was like soccer and exercise. I mean, it's what gave me purpose. It's what helped me. It was like my release in a way. And I really just channeled everything into that and kind of kept a lot of things bottled up that kind of all emerged kind of at that when soccer was done, when you kind of were able to kind of pick your head up after 15 years and kind of just realize the stuff that you've buried, the stuff that you didn't acknowledge. It's just really eye-opening experience. And sometimes it's you are who you didn't think you were in a way, which is really interesting when you look at yourself in the mirror.
I like that.
How do you mean?
Like, it's like you're like, oh, like I didn't work out a lot. I wasn't obsessive about this. I did eat. And I think it was after I stopped playing is when I developed a lot healthy relationship with like food and exercise. And I'll never forget it. It was in one of my college classes, my exercise physiology class during the midst of the COVID pandemic. We were talking about like the different types of exercisers. And one of the first ones we talked about was like a type A exerciser. And I was like, these people sound freaking nuts. They just work out a lot. They're not eating as much. And then we got put into breakout rooms to discuss. And like, I all of a sudden just started spilling. I didn't even kind of realize what was coming out of my mouth. And I don't know why it was that day, but it's like a switch just flipped. And I was like, wow, like I was that person. I am that person.
So sometimes it takes some reflection to find
Yeah.
out. Yeah. Well, we, there again, I do like in your book that you said that selfishness is something that you can use if you're going to use that as determination to go someplace. Is that where you got that kind of focus at?
Yeah, kind of with that, and then kind of just the phase of when you kind of graduate school and you're kind of tossed off into the world. There's not really a next step. You kind of have to figure it out. And you kind of realize that I think the term being selfish has like a negative connotation to it. But when it comes to like your physical, your mental health, like what makes you you in a way, like you have to be selfish in that way so you can be able to give and be the best version of yourself for others. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're always giving, you're the one who's left drained at the end of the day and no fun to be around.
I like that. Well, you do have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and there again, as you're a young man, is there a significant other in your life?
No, not at the moment.
Yep.
You know something.
Not the right time.
When you said that about being selfish, I don't necessarily believe that it's fully selfish, right? I think that if you're taking care of yourself, it's doing a service to others because, as you said, if you're not the best you can be for yourself and you're not healthy physically, mentally, spiritually, all of those areas, then you can't be able to give to everybody else the way you need to and show up the way that you need to for others. And
you know, I think a lot of people think they can, and then they find out they can't. You know,
well, that's where burnout comes from.
Oh, it is. It is. It is. So spin us into. I love what you said, because so tell us how you got to the NFL, because you were a strength coach in the NFL. Tell us how you got there.
Yeah, so not necessarily in the NFL. I was helping coach NFL combine and NFL offseason players. So the last semester of my senior year before graduating, it's just a full-time internship. So I could have stayed in Milwaukee and probably just worked at a local gym. And it was never like me to do things halfway or just take the easy credit or whatever it was. And I was like, well, if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to be a strength coach, I want to go to the best spot that I can. And that was in Phoenix, Arizona, training with Exos, which is one of the top sports performance companies in the world, a very selective program when you apply. And when I went there, my assignment was to be able to work with the NFL combine guys. So my day started at 4:30. I would kind of wake up. I would do my own business, get my own prep for the day personally. We go in and they'd put us through these 2-hour workouts that they programmed so we could kind of feel what it was like. And then it was about 8 hours of coaching each day with these guys. It was an insane experience. These guys are crazy athletes, and they were the same age as me too. So it was a really amazing experience. And then staying afterwards to make all their protein shakes and everything. So being there from about like 5:30 in the morning till 7 at night, and then after that going to do DoorDash or coaching soccer with youth soccer to make some extra money on the side. So it's just go. And it was an amazing experience that I would never take back. It was one of the hardest things I've done, but absolutely amazing.
It's funny when, and I tell, I've got 2 daughters that graduated from college, and I've told them both that, real life starts after you hit the pavement and no one's expecting you to go to school, play sports. I mean, you're just looking around and you're basically having to make it happen yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love it because he's our kind of guy going DoorDash and making it happen.
Hustling just to make ends meet. And you had a dream and you had a goal you wanted to accomplish, and you did whatever it takes.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you under the mindset that my daughters are, because both my daughters had 2 or 3 sources of income when they were young. I mean, they were influenced by people. And I remember Tessa was a nanny, and of course Taylor she's a pro tennis player, so she'd teach a lot of tennis lessons. But they would also have real jobs. Mm-hmm. So I always appreciate that. Go get them. See, I think this. I'm going to go on a rant here, because we have a show called Relevant Rants. When people look at your generation and say that you're not motivated and you're not for anything, do you look at them and go, really? Because I look at you and I'm like going, this is the kind of kid that will light the world on fire. Yeah, that's like the same kind of my daughters. And I go, we can't be talking about the same generation, so you can't just lump everybody into a nonchalant gamer attitude.
Right?
Am I right, Alec?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can generalize anybody, because there's always those outliers, and you can't judge a whole group or population based on the performance of just a handful of individuals. I know plenty of people who have worked hard for what they've gotten. I mean, when there was a snow day when I was younger, like, I didn't sit at home and like watch TV. I woke up as soon as I did, like when the snow started falling, and I was outside all day shoveling driveways, bringing in money. And that kind of mentality has just continued to where I am today, like always looking for an opportunity to grow, to learn, to meet new people. And I think it's not necessarily like it's not being lazy or stuff for what maybe other people think. It's just the way times have kind of evolved, and there's new technology, there's new ways to do things. I just, maybe it comes from like a lack of understanding or not.
I like that because my oldest daughter, I think, and she's 27, she takes it a little more personal. She's like, when people are talking about that, I'm sitting in the audience. I'm like, what are you talking about? My generation has work ethics. My generation has morals. My generation has those things. So I could see you getting in a conversation like that, and once you drop on them that snow days you were shoveling after coaching NFL combine prospects, you're out door dashing.
Well, I know a lot of guys his age that are hustlers too. Yeah. So I think there's both, right? And my generation had the slackers, and your generation had the people that are,
potheads.
Yeah.
I grew up in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So
right. So every generation had their slackers, and every generation had their achievers, right?
I guess so. So Alex, I want to pick here because we're getting ready to wrap this show up. So what thought, or what one single thing inspired you to write a book? Because I love that you said the writing wasn't your thing in school, but it became therapeutic for you. And the thought of writing a book just stresses me out. But
now you don't have to. You can just have ChatGPT do it for you.
Sure. There's not enough on the internet about me. Not these days. But what happened there? I mean, what you wake up one morning going, writing a book? What happened? How'd you come to that conclusion?
It was kind of a culmination thing. So like fast forward to graduating from school, and you graduate, there's like not really a next step. The job that I had as like a strength coach nothing was as promised. It was kind of nothing what you thought it was supposed to be. Just like facilities, everything else that you said you were going to have and stuff, and just schedules, everything. Still a good learning experience, but that was like a little rough kind of going into that, maybe expectations. Was coming out of a relationship at that point in time, was finding somewhere different to live. So there was just a bunch of different life changes happening at that point in time. And that was still when working on like a mental health startup, and just hearing other people who were going through struggles on their own that you didn't think were. Sometimes you just have a random conversation with someone, and they open up and you're like, wow, like you're holding on to that. So, I mean, during that point in time, like I was seeing like a therapist, and I think everyone should, like whether you're depressed and feeling like you're a nobody, or even if things are going well, I think it's just a good habit to kind of be in, just to have someone to talk to who's not going to judge. But I started kind of journaling in a way for myself. And as I started talking with other people, I just really thought like, wow, like I have like a story and I think other people can relate. And I feel like I'd be doing a disservice to everyone out there if I didn't do this. And when I was in college, if you had told me to write a 5-page paper, I would have been like, oh God, no. But then it was kind of weird. I just, decided to go and write a book. When I was working at my strength job, I would wake up, like my schedule shifted. I used to like be there at 5:45 till 2:30, and then it shifted to working from about like 11 to 8 at night. So I would just wake up at 6 in the morning and just write up until 11 a.m. and then just go to work and kind of do that over and over and over.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Mike, you have any things for Alec, or we want to shift into Ministry Matters, close up lunch break and do that?
Yeah.
Let's do that. I know you want to dig.
I do.
I know you want to dig. So, hey,
but we're out of time.
Yeah. Hey, we're so glad you joined us on lunch break, but we're not done with Alec. We're going to be talking to him about Ministry Matters, which incorporates his journey through. I love the fact that he said he saw a therapist, because that's something, Mike, you and I encourage people to do. And you don't have to have a problem to need to talk about mental health, and just kind of get in a balance, get the bubble back in the middle. And so if you like us, subscribe and share it. And want to thank everybody, 511 Media Group. Go out and watch our channel. We've got, we're at 3 shows, but we got another one to drop.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
Real soon.
Yeah, real soon. So, Mike, want to close us out?
Yeah. Well, like Tom was saying, if you're here, you're watching this, or you're listening, give us a follow, give us a subscribe. Let us know what you think. Drop a comment and give us some feedback or some questions, and leave a review, because that really helps us out too.
Yeah, and we want to encourage them to purchase Alec's book, Conquer Yourself. Where would they get that at, Alec?
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon, or you can kind of get it off my website, which is conqueryourself.co. So not .com, but .co. I'm pretty
and I believe we have the links for all that too, right?
Yeah, we'll put the links up for that too. How can they get a hold of you? Through that website?
You can do the website. I'm really active on LinkedIn. You can email me at awons@conqueryourself.co. I've had a lot of mentors, coaches, and people in my life guide me, and if I can be that for someone else, I'd love to be able to return the favor and pay it forward.
Yeah, if you're out there and you're a young athlete, if I was you, I would definitely get a hold of Alec and connect.
Yeah.
Because you need a young mind like his, who's been through a little oops in life that was a trajectory that spin him off on, like he said, what he should be doing. There again, as the Bible says, a man will fall down 7 times, but he'll rise. So good job, Alec, and we'll be getting back to you on Ministry Matters. So, guys, have a great day.
Thanks for watching. God bless.
Thank you.